Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, or whatever ungodly hour you find yourself listening. We are the Bards Against Humanity, here to strum your lute and absolutely wreck your ear holes. So be prepared for a podcast that hits harder than a nat one in bed, because we're about to come in your ears. Here I am with my buddy Leo. Say hi.
Yo, yo.
And welcome to the series that we have only just named in episode 2 called Lore and Order. Last episode we talked about the fighter base class, and this time we're going to be going over all of the subclasses that got revamped in 2024, and even going over the old revised, not the old revised versions. We're going over the 2014 ones as well to do a little side-by-side comparison, keeping up with the theme.
Absolutely. Now, there's quite a few subclasses that they decided not to touch. They obviously update a lot of the original 3, the Battle Master, Champion, Eldritch Knight. But Xanthar's Guide to Everything hasn't been touched, and only one from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything.
That one, I believe, is the Psi-Warrior, which is really, really cool.
There's nothing crazy new.
Nothing crazy new, but you know what? We like that. That just means it was already a pretty goddamn good class to begin with. But we'll still go over it anyway, because that's what we're here. That's what we're here for. We're here to inform, maybe with a little bit of rude humor in between.
And that's what we do.
So, do you want to be an absolute? Do you want to, go by the book and we can go alphabetical, or do you want to be an absolute heathen and we'll choose one at random?
I think we choose one at random.
Okay, roll a d4 and we're choosing from the alphabetical 1 through 4.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh, let me get a fucking dice.
We've come prepared.
We have come prepared. I have not come prepared. I was not expecting me to say, let's do this at random. Fucking find a d4. Feels how often in the campaign I use d4s because they're all at the fucking bottom. Bottom, God, fucking hold on a minute.
Only hits us with the d6s, d8s, or d12s like a dick.
Yeah, you're welcome. Shit's fun.
I didn't say thank you.
Rarely does an enemy have magic missile anymore. We got a 4, so I believe we're starting off with Psi-Warrior.
Oh my god! Was it scripted? Was it bug?
You know what? I should have taken a fucking photo. It landed underneath a Doritos bag, next to my dice mat.
Because we eat healthy here at the Bards Against Humanity.
I fucking don't.
Doritos and chalky milk, the balanced diet.
I have not touched chalky milk in quite some time.
That's depressing.
It is a bit depressing. Chalky milk does make the pain go away, but I don't have no pain, so I don't need no chalky milk.
Ayo, get the chalky milk.
It's the first thing I'm going to do when I leave this fucking podcast. Just going to go get myself some chalky milk, because now I want some.
Yeah, do, man. But make sure it's a milk brand and not a chalky milk brand. There's a difference. It's a better quality.
So, we're going on the tangents right away, but I need to ask the question, what's the difference?
Okay, right. So the non-milk brand, I can't even think of one off the top of my head because I ignore it every time. It's watery. It's awful. If you're looking for depth of flavor, you got to go for like an Avonmore chocolate milk.
Hey, we got a new list of potential sponsors. Avonmore, reach out. Your chalky milk can help our pain go away here at the Bards Against Humanity.
Only the chocolate milk, though. I don't want that soy shit. Just chalky milk, Avonmore, okay? Listen up.
Full fat, chalky milk, and maybe potentially, just putting this out there, have it come in a box with a d20. I like my dice.
Roll to see if you crit. Oh, I critted. I drink all of it. Yay.
Chug, 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 chug. Anyway,
so moving back to Psi-Warrior.
Moving back to Psi-Warrior. Psi-Warrior, if you're unfamiliar, is basically what their entire flavor set and their entire skill set is based around a martial fighter with some psionic abilities. So some little mental fortitude, some psychic abilities that empower either their strikes or their movement. And they get a few nice things. So every subclass, of course, gets their identity abilities at level 3. Psi-Warrior starts off with a number of psionic energy dice, which can be used to fuel your abilities, which start off at a d6, and you get a number of these equal to twice your proficiency bonus, which at level 3 is 2.
Those energy die are now tied to your fighter level instead of your proficiency bonus.
instead of your proficiency bonus, which is actually really, really good. Yeah, I should have specified I was talking about the 2014 one.
Don't you worry, Dan. I got you.
They're not actually, no, hold on. We have to make a correction on that. They're not equal to your fighter level. You gain a certain number of them when you reach certain fighter levels. So in the 2024 variant, at level 3, you have 4 of them. At level 5, you have 6. At level 9, you have 8. 11, you have 8. At 13, you have 10. And at 17, you have 12. So once again, it is equal to when you're equal to twice your proficiency bonus. Because if you notice, that is the same level up guide for your proficiency bonus, because you have 2 times 2, 4, 2 times 3, 6, so on up to 12, because your max proficiency is 12.
And of course, the dice size goes up as well.
Oh yeah, it goes from a D6 to a D8 at levels 5 and 9, and then at level 11 and 13 you have a D10, and at level 17 it gets upgraded to a D12.
So once again, kind of putting home the point that we made about the fighter class, it's really pushing you to see fighter all the way through.
It really is. Although this, I do believe you can take just like a small little dip into it for up to level 3, which can like power up, say, any of the other classes you use, because I do believe if you wanted to make your barbarian have a little bit more kind of like, you know, like mental rage, you can flavor it that you've taken your 2 levels into, or your 3 levels, sorry, into fighter, get your action surge, which we all know is fucking incredible. Oh, yeah. And then you can get your level 3 abilities, which are really, really cool. And you can use those 4 times per, I believe it's long rest.
It's long rest indeed.
Yeah, so you get your psionic, and when you finish a short rest, you gain one of your expended psionic energy die when you reach a short rest, and you regain all of them when you finish a long rest. So if you're short resting, you can still at least kind of keep the fuel up. But the level 3 abilities, they are pretty cool. So you have Protective Field, you have Psionic Strike, and you have Telekinetic Movement. So when you or another creature you see with this is Protective Field. I should introduce them.
That would be great.
That would be great. So I'm just talking nonsense. For Protective Field, when you or another creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can take a reaction to expend 1 psionic energy die. You roll that dice, which at level 3 is a d6, and reduce the damage taken by a number rolled plus your intelligence modifier. So a minimum reduction of 1. So even if you have a negative in intelligence, you can at least reduce it by a minimum of 1. As you create a momentary shield of telekinetic force, which is pretty cool. So at lower levels, with a smaller health pool, that would be quite impactful in being able to keep up your sustain on the battlefield.
Yeah, especially with fighters that tend to be front lines. Now the psionic fighter can be a little bit different. Obviously depends on how you want to use them, but more often than not, you're going to be targeted, you're going to be hit. So it's good that they've kind of kept it on. I do believe for one of the next ones, they've slightly changed it.
I believe so. I'm trying to see the side-by-side comparison here.
Oh no! I know where my confusion is. So that you can only use your energy dice for your Psi-Warrior features, such as the Protective Field. And the other 2 that I've completely tangented away from, but we'll get back to it. So you can only use it for those features, because you could use it for something like Soul Knife, which was creating confusion for both the player and the DM. So they've nice bit of clarification. It's solely for the Psi-Warrior.
Clarification is needed, because let's be honest, even I as a DM, if something's not clarified for me and it's on a stat block, I'm gonna fucking use it to the max.
Fact.
Feel the pain.
Feel it.
Feel it. For the second one, Psionic Strike is pretty cool. Again, none of these have really changed, except maybe a little bit of wording and clarification from the old one. So for Psionic Strike, you can propel your weapons with psionic force, and once in each of your turns, after you hit a target within 30 feet, with an attack and deal damage to it, you can expend a psionic energy die and deal extra damage equal to the result plus your intelligence modifier. So
not bad.
It's not bad. Damage is damage, you know. It is quite good, and it's once per turn, so you don't get it every attack, but again, the extra damage is never a bad thing. but you do want to have at least a middle of the road intelligence or higher, so you don't get cucked by the result. So you may want to consider at least bolstering your intelligence, maybe just a little bit.
I mean, with Psionic Warrior, for this subclass, you don't stumble upon it maybe as you would some of the later subclasses we'll talk about. You definitely build your character for it being a Psionic Warrior.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it would be a really fun, kind of interesting multi-class with Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. If you're from the old 2014, I'm not actually sure if that's gotten updated in the 2024. I don't think so. But the Aberrant Mind from before the 2024 rules updates was basically like all of their powers came from like an aberrant mutation in their mind. So all of their abilities were psychic related. So if you started out as as like an aberrant mind sorcerer, or if you wanted to start out as a psionic fighter, you can then dip into your aberrant mind sorcerer, and the two could probably fuel each other a little bit weirdly. Now you would have to maybe spread out your stat points, which may not be the best, but I still think it could be a really cool multi-class. I may actually consider building that at some point, see how it works.
I think for you to get the best out of Psionic fighter, that you'd have to go Psionic Warrior 17, Abhorrent Sorcerer 3, just because if you do it the other way around, you get 4d6 versus the 12d12. Now, whether or not you'll go through all 12 of them in one before you go to one long rest, not the point nearly.
Not necessarily the point, but even if you took up to level 11, even if you wanted to go to, you have it's upgraded to a D10, and you have 8 psionic energy die, and you can still use some pretty cool abilities, like especially the third level 3 ability you get with this. You can move an object or a creature with your mind, and this is telekinetic movement. And one of the clarifications they have here is as a magic action. That's one of the new references for the 2014, again with clarification, because one of the things that often comes up, especially since we've been playing our campaigns, is this a spell or is this a class feature? Like, say an enemy might be using a legendary action that allows them to send an energy blast at the players, and they're like, oh, is this a spell? I want to fucking counterspell this. And it's like, no, unfortunately, this is an attack. But the magic action in D&D clarifies anything that requires magic to use. So especially when things like an anti-magic field are in play, it specifies that anything that can be used as a magic action can't be used in an anti-magic field. Now, magic action is not separate to your regular action; it's just as a magic related action. So, say you can do your regular attack action, or you can cast a spell, which is like your magic action. But anyway, to go through the telekinetic movement, so as your magic action, you can choose a target within 30 feet of yourself, and the target must be a loose object that is large or smaller, or one willing creature other than you, so again, a large or smaller creature. You can transport the target up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. Alternatively, if it's a tiny object, you can transport it to or from your hand. Now, you can actually use this for free once a long or short rest, but after that, you do have to expend a psionic energy dice to restore your use of it, which does not require an action whatsoever.
Which is a bit wild, isn't it? So without using your psionic die, you're able to use it as an action, but there's no sacrifice there. But if you do use the psionic die, you get your action back pretty much.
Yeah, so it's like you're using your subclass specific resource to be able to fuel your abilities, which is always something that's nice to do. And I believe that is no change once again from 2014. Just a tiny bit of wording and clarification.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to be honest, at this stage, the only other change that seems to be with the psionic fighter seems to be regaining those die that we spoke about a little bit earlier. Instead of it being a bonus action, it's after a short rest, which is interesting for action economy for the psionic fighter, but I can see it come as a detriment.
Yeah, say that again for me. I don't think any of that registered. I heard everything, but I'm still trying to make sense of it.
Oh, sorry. So before, for 2014, it was a bonus action to regain one of the die, the Psi-Warrior die. That's
Okay.
what it was in 2014. For 2024, it's now getting one on a short rest.
Okay. Oh yes, I see what you mean now. Sorry, I had this here, and I was looking at it. I was like, I'm still not. My brain's not working today,
What?
and I've had a coffee before this fucking thing started.
Should have
Nescafe,
had
hit me
two.
up. Love your Aero mint coffees, by the way. So yes, it was.
Nescafe make better coffee. Dan's brain isn't working right. Choose Lavazza.
Don't give shit to Nescafe. I want that. I want that.
Want that
Yeah. So
Aerosmith
before
boy?
Aeros, that's fucking Aero mint.
Aero Mint. Who do you think makes the arrow? The Aerosmiths. I'm pretty certain they're a band.
They are a band. Yes, they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So beforehand, it was a bonus action. A bonus action that you can regain one psionic energy die. But you couldn't do that until you finish a short or long rest. So yeah, it is a little bit better for the action economy for being able to keep your bonus action free, especially for your Step of the Wind, which, as we discussed last episode, can allow you to move away from the danger now.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see how because obviously with the Psionic Warrior, they're used to just dealing with the dice and what they can do with it. Now with the new features, what is the term for it, which is very irritating, the mastery, they might be able to fuse those two interesting parts together and see what they can do.
Exactly. You've got tons of customization options available to you. Now with the 2024, you can flavor your fighter however you want. It's going to be great. What do you think of the telekinetic adept, though, at level 7?
Yeah, it just keeps... What's interesting, in my opinion, is that come these... the telekinetic adept, very interesting, right? We'll go through them in a sec. I'm shocked that that's it.
Really?
Once you get to level 7, there's no more other kind of psionic abilities. This is kind of it. For specific ones.
For specific ones, yeah. So it's for, like, you still do get your guarded mind, your bulwark of force, your telekinetic master as you level up. But this is the one that I think what you're trying to say is it gives, say, like, more than one option. So you have, say, like, 2 listed abilities.
Yeah, it gives you like 2 listed abilities, while the other 3 that you just mentioned, you can do that without the die once, just being able to do it more. Then you can use the energy die again.
Okay. The more I look at this as well, I do think it would be a very nice multi-class with Ranger.
Well, that's just the fighter way, isn't it? It looks great for a multi-class, doesn't it?
Fighter does look great for a multi-class, and like you do have multi-classes with Rangers and Fighters, but I'm specifically looking at Psi-Warrior being a great partner to the Hunter subclass and Ranger, which we'll get to later down the road. But just from Psi-powered leap, so as a bonus action, gain a fly speed equal to double your movement speed till the end of turn. That's pretty cool, and you can do that for free without spending a psionic energy dice once per short or long rest, which is cool. You want to get the high ground, get the dip on some enemies, get up to high ground, and potentially away from the danger. Shoot with your bow, do your Hunter's Mark shenanigans. Provided Hunter's Mark is already there, because that is a bonus action already. But still pretty cool, because anything to allow you to move around the battlefield a little bit easier, especially at twice your movement speed. That's pretty good.
Mobility, especially, about saying level 7, you're not necessarily at that stage going to have many enemies that are going to try and stay away from you massively, but come later on, it's going to be wild.
Yeah, movement gets wild the higher levels you get.
Yeah, and then after that, you've got telekinetic thrust. When you deal damage to a target with your psionic strike, so it's mixing it in with another ability. You can force the target to make a strength saving throw, which has a DC of 8 plus your intelligence modifier plus your proficiency bonus. So intelligence really is the important part for this particular fighter, which is very weird.
Not necessarily, because I think the Eldritch Knight also requires you to have a little bit of intelligence, because the save DC on their on their spells and cantrips is the same.
But like, what is that? 2 out of 8? That's an awful statistic. I will not be shut down for calling it weird. And then, sorry, on a fail save, the target is then prone, or it's transported 10 feet horizontally.
So it's like
I don't know about the 10 feet horizontally, but the prone, it could be wild.
10 feet horizontally. Prone is good for the for your traditional advantage on your attack rolls, against melee attack rolls, specifically against your prone target. But the 10 feet could be huge if you're trying to push them into, say, range of another ally's spell that you might be working on planning up. As you were mentioning before in the last episode, battlefield control is quite important, and both prone and transporting 10 feet allow you to do that. Or you can, with the transport horizontally, you can push them, say, like off of a high cliff if you were fighting them on a cliffside, or even push them into other hazards that may be present on the battle map.
Yeah, so at level 7, looking nothing but golden, in my opinion. So many different moments where you can actually affect, which is great to see. They're definitely, once again, fighter, they're putting in more to it, which is great.
And one thing to get at level 10, which is actually quite a rare resistance to get, is just straight up resistance to psychic damage. Not a whole lot of creatures or ways for the player to get resistance to psychic damage. Like even the barbarian, for example, doesn't even get resistance to psychic damage.
Yeah, no, it's a rare one.
It is a rare one, and if you start your turn frightened or charmed, you can spend a psionic energy die with no action required and just end the conditions that are causing it.
Which is super fair, because at this stage, come level 10, you'll have 8 of these die that you can only use mainly once per turn. Once you're here, you're mainly using once per turn, and it's very rare to go 8 rounds.
It is, like, typical combat usually lasts on average around 3 rounds.
Later levels, I definitely get that they're using it more as you can use it for utility. I just think it's a bit. It's a bit weird. I think it's great to not be frightened or charmed, because that's how the DM, I'm sure you'll agree with me, that's how they'll get people.
Yeah, especially if you were to go up against a dragon and they use their like frightening presence. Like for a fighter not to be able to get closer to the source of their fear, is quite detrimental, especially if you're a melee fighter. So just being able to just say no to your DM is pretty good, and especially for those fights where if you take your big damage dealer out of it, like a fighter that I know from you, fucking fighter is a damage dealer with a capital D and G. Taking them out of the fight can often lead to, potentially, depending on how the turn goes, 1 or 2 party members going down.
Dan, did you say D and G for damage dealer?
Damage.
I would have said double D because damage dealer. But that, hey, that's just me. Who doesn't love a good capital D&D?
But if one of us said we didn't love a capital D&D, especially because we play D&D, I would be sad.
It would be awkward.
It would be awkward. Then you're only coming along just to make sure I don't cry myself to sleep that night. Which I would also appreciate. But
as long as you don't cry throughout the recordings, that's a win for me.
But Avonmore, if you want to stop me from crying throughout this recording, you can sponsor us with that chalky milk, because that makes the pain go away.
Chalky milk! I'm not saying I'd suck more dick if it came with chocolate milk, but it would be a question.
I believe you said once before that penises scare you.
Yes.
You'd be a terrible gay because penises scare you.
Penises scare me. I've got the gag reflex of a delicate hummingbird. I'd just be no good. I'd be no good.
Yeah, the dentist hates me for the same fucking reason. I cannot get a filling without gagging.
And then you finally open your mouth. Then he finally checks your teeth. Hey, dentists are expensive now. I understand.
It's okay if you pay PRSI, they're pins. All right, so we can move on to Bulwark of Force, which is your level 15 Psionic Warrior ability. So as a bonus action, you can choose creatures, including yourself, within 30 feet. up to a number equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of 1. And each creature has the each chosen creature, benefits from half cover for a minute or until you are incapacitated. And like some of the abilities before, once you use the feature, you can use it once for free, and then you can spend a psionic energy die, again, no action required, to reuse it. So being able to use yourself to do that on yourself for your allies at the start of combat is great, because half cover, every creature that gains the benefit from half cover gains +2 to their AC.
But surely, I'm not certain about this one, especially being at level 15. I just think, I think utility-wise, it's one of those things where, let's say everyone's going first before the enemy, and then you use your Bulwark of Force, and then everyone moves. Or is it saying that irregardless, they still have the effects of half cover?
The way I'm understanding it is the creatures at the beginning, like at the initial casting of Bulwark of Force, have to be within 30 feet of you. I don't believe they have to stay within 30 feet of you, because you choose a number of creatures and fortify them with telekinetic force that are within 30 feet of you. The way I understand it is they don't have to stay there.
Well, then that's a lot better. That makes it more sense for it to be level 15.
It's just like for example, like any. Like, say, haste, for example. You don't have to stay within the initial casting range of haste to benefit from it. You just have to be within range of someone to be able to cast haste on you. And then you gain the benefits afterwards.
Yeah, and then and you also get an advantage on dexterity. Oh, a +2 on dexterity saving throws.
I did forget about that little tidbit.
Okay, I was like, why not just say +2 AC for 1 minute? But adding the dexterity saving throws is pretty big. Do you know what? I'm going to take back my original statement. It makes sense. I get it. My hands are up.
Hands are up.
Leo made
my words.
Nom nom.
Nom, for fuck's sake. Yeah, because dexterity is one of the 3, I think, is it like common saves that are made, or I think what they were originally called strong saves, because so many creatures have abilities that cause you to make a dexterity saving throw. Like most, like quite a lot of breath weapon attacks from, say, dragons, for example, will require dexterity. Fireball requires dexterity. Other abilities that are not coming to mind right now require dexterity. It's one of the strong saves, so it's pretty good.
To finish off the Psi-Warrior, we've got the Telekinetic Master, where you always have the telekinesis spell prepared, and with this feature, you can cast it without a spell slot or components. And your spellcasting ability for it is intelligence, which is real good. And on each of your turns, you maintain concentration on it, including the turn when you cast it, where you can make one attack with a weapon as a bonus action.
Oh, that's nice.
Which, as a fighter, action economy is so hard at times, where you're like, oh, I have all these abilities, but I end up using 3 out of 5. Because I just don't have enough action. I don't have enough. Yeah. I don't have enough actions, bonus actions. So anything that's a free action is wild. So Telekinetic Master being pretty much a free action.
I will have to make you eat your words, because you do have to cast it as a spell.
That is so true. I don't do spells. I don't do spells. Fuck it. Sorcerers are going to be pointless.
So just being able to cast it for free with no verbal or semantic components, which means it cannot be counterspelled, because it's essentially like you're under the effects of the subtle spell metamagic. For a counterspell to work, you have to have the ability to be able to see the spell being cast. But unfortunately, since you're not making any verbal components, or you're not moving your hands or anything, the spell can't be seen being cast, so you can essentially just cast it.
My apologies. I immediately thought when it said no components, like literal components. I totally forgot about the concept of what's the term for it? Not gang signs. The sign language, the hand movements. What's it called?
Semantic components.
Semantic components. Thank you. I didn't even think about including those. It's interesting.
That's it. I'm making a wizard who uses gang signs for semantic components. Or like a bard that just
West Side.
that instead of like actually casting vicious mockery, just viciously flips people off. For some reason they're taking psychic damage.
Hey, have you not seen those sign interpreters at Cardi B's concerts? It's she's going nuts.
Saw the one for Eminem's Rap God, and my god, that woman was keeping up.
Jesus, rap god?
Yeah.
That's a lot of finger movements right there. She's
It was
flailing.
it was impressive as all hell.
Yeah.
And like if you have carpal tunnel, you're fucked.
I think that would be a really interesting career choice if you have carpal tunnel to be a sign interpreter.
I more so meant that you could develop carpal tunnel from signing at Eminem's
Fair.
concerts.
Fair. I thought you were just being a dick.
No.
Well, if you got carpal tunnel, that's not a career route for you.
Anyway, the telekinetic master being able to cast it for free once without needing a psionic dice, and then after that, until you finish a long rest, you can use a psionic energy die to cast it again. It's still pretty good. And just being able to, on your action of telekinesis or using your bonus action, I can't remember which one it is. Hold on, let me look at the spell.
I'm pretty certain it's an action.
Yes, it is an action to affect it, but you can only affect one creature that is affected with telekinesis on each of your turns. So you can like move them. You can move them up to the spell's range. You can. They'll have the restrain condition. You can move objects that are like pretty big, and of course objects aren't going to need to make a strength fucking saving throw to resist your telekinesis. So you can just lift a big rock and just drop it.
I think considering they're definitely going for the Jean Grey kind of psychic, they do very well. It does very well. Granted, you might feel a little bit cheated not getting telekinesis earlier, but with the other psionic abilities, I think it works itself out.
I think it does, but it all in all, I would say the Psi-Warrior, again, like you'd said before, it's not a class I'd initially looked at. The first, like, genuine, like, play I've seen of a Psi-Warrior in action was during Critical Role's Campaign 3 with, I believe it was Odahan Thule was one of the enemies, but she was a really overtuned Psi-Warrior, because I remember hearing like Psi-powered leap and stuff. So that was, I think, my first like introduction to Psi-Warrior. I've never gone out of my way to build one because personally for me, I always thought the Eldritch Knight had such cool flavor to mess around with that I'd always like, if I was building a fighter, I'd look at Eldritch Knight before any other subclass. But I think this might change that for me. Why is it silly? I love Eldritch Knight. It's so cool.
Fuck the Eldritch Knight. Fuck him. Fuck him. Why? Spells and shit. Very confusing still. I'm going to do very well when we talk about the Eldritch Knight.
Oh, you're going to do so great when we talk about the Eldritch Knight. And you know what? For a one shot, I would love to see you just not play a paladin for spell casting. I'd love to see you play a full caster. Just once.
I just don't care for it personally. No, Eldritch Knight is fine. I understand people's love of it, but they'd be wrong. Yeah, you got Battle Master. I mean, to be fair, I think if you go Champion, that's even more terrifying in my opinion. You're really hoping for one particular thing to happen, which if you've ever played D&D, that never happens. You might get it twice over a whole campaign, which just shouldn't be the way.
All right.
But it's what will happen. So
it is indeed what will happen. But yeah, so the Psi-Warrior again has not really changed since its introduction, which kind of just goes to show that they didn't really feel the need to change anything about the class because they already felt like it's a pretty good subclass, and it is. I'd love to play one, but as a forever DM, it's kind of difficult. I could make one an enemy, so then I kind of get to play one, which will be really cool. Just give an enemy some fighter class levels and give them some Psi-Warrior features, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, they've definitely continued what they wanted to do with the fighter class in general. They wanted to make it a bit more flavorsome earlier on, especially, which is where and be more, what's the term? Precise. Have better clarification for what they mean about their abilities, and that's continued on with the Psionic Warrior. A few level 3 changes, but other than that, they felt it was very flavorful, and that's because it is.
It is. It really has a lot of flavor, and I really, really do like it. I may build one just to up to level 20, just to have a bit of fun with it. I may take a look at some of the items. That's one thing I never even considered when we were talking about this, is some recommended items. I don't know what players want as their items. Well, that's a lie. I kind of do. They tell me all the time.
By all means, please do, comment and say what you think the best item would be for a Psionic Warrior. 0 restrictions. You're level 20. What's an item you'd really want to have to emphasize the Psionic Warrior?
A real dream. Number 1 item that if you found that in a chest and your DM said, "Take this. It is yours."
No, fuck the chest. You've had to suck off your DM to get this item.
No, you haven't.
If you had to give him
the DM is just being nice because you asked nicely.
You asked very nicely while you were on your knees.
Leo, once again, we are not here to promote prostitution for D&D items.
And that brings us to our new sponsor. Only joking. There's no sponsoring for prostitution. Either do it or you don't.
All right, so I think we're finished with the Psionic Warrior. I think we have time for one more subclass. If you want to roll us a d4, and we'll get right into it.
Okay, so I have a 2. What does 2 give us?
2 gives us Champion.
Champion. Oh, fantastic! You mean the class I was just clowning on?
The class you were just clowning on, and it's a nice, short enough, easy one to finish ourselves up on. So Champion, for those who probably don't know, was probably the least picked fighter subclass in all of 2014's rule set. As I believe, Leo, you had mentioned in the previous episode that they only get the good thing at level 3 and 15.
Yep. That's, and it's not that it's awful, it's just that it's boring. And when you compare it to other classes, it makes no sense to choose it.
Yeah, it didn't really come out with a kind of like the big flavor that you had, like especially if you're in a party where you have like an abjuration wizard or something, where they're basically just soaking up damage as a wizard, which is not usually what a wizard does, but they're quite remarkable at like protection based magics and stuff. And then you have a fighter who's just there like, yeah, I can swing my sword a little harder and maybe, just maybe, we'll get a critical this time so I can use my class features.
Don't you worry. We may have a giant lizard on our team. His name was Steve. Now he's Steve the Dragon Warrior. I've got myself a stick and I can hit extra hard 1/20th better than you. So,
10% of the time, I crit every time.
Thank you, Kermie.
You're welcome.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. They have, once again, they've very similar to the Psi-Warrior. They've done a lot of their legwork doing on in level 3. Obviously, when you choose a subclass, you get Remarkable Athlete here instead of level 7, which I think is huge. So not only do you get your crit at 19 or 20, you now have advantage on initiative rolls and strength athletics checks, and you can move half your speed for free after scoring a critical hit
without provoking opportunity attacks. I'm sensing a theme with a lot of the fighters' abilities to not provoke opportunity attacks when they initiate the retreat.
Yeah, and it's interesting that, because obviously we've only done 2 of the subclasses today. We're probably only going to be doing 2 today. But so far, 2 out of 2, they are encouraging attacking and retreating.
Get up all in their business and then say, fuck are you, and leave.
Yeah, stabby stab and retreat, which for a fighter, in my experience, that rarely happens. If anything, I think you can attest to this. I'm chasing him. Come here, come back here, you. I ain't done playing with you.
quite a lot of the time when you can get within 5 feet of my enemy, of my BBEGs, you're staying there. It don't matter if they teleport somewhere else or if they like use their fly speed to move without provoking opportunity attacks. You're back in their space about as quickly as you can be.
Yeah, so it's really interesting to see that maybe when we see kind of other subclasses, or maybe what they've changed throughout the regular gameplay, that maybe that they've added resources to retreating. I don't know. It's so maddening to me that you don't want to be in their business.
It's not necessarily that you don't want to be in their business, but it's giving you the option to not take a hit when you want to leave, which is pretty good, because it was before at the base subclassic, every class will already have the opportunity to move half their movement speed without provoking opportunity attacks. Or not half their movement speed, their full movement speed, I think. Am I right with second wind? Am I right? Am I?
Second wind? No, that just heals you.
No, second wind. Remember, we went through this. Second wind on the new.
The new second wind. Yes.
The new second wind. Where the fuck is second wind gone?
No, second wind is still just healing.
We were looking at this last time, and we were talking about it, that when you use your second... Oh, sorry, that was tactical shift at level 5. Every fighter at level 5, when you use your second wind as a bonus action, you can move up to half your movement speed without provoking opportunity attacks. I was just reading second wind and getting very confused. Every fighter has the ability to...
Why are you confusing me? You're confusing the viewer, the listener even.
I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be well informed on this. I'm the DM!
So they're definitely, I whether or not they're going to change something regarding the gameplay for encouraging retreating, it's just, I think maybe they're specializing other classes to be tanks, because that's what tends to happen as a fighter.
I mean, yeah, the
you
barbarian
end up being the one being hit.
Yeah, like the barbarian or the fighter seems to be kind of like the face tanks, or even the clerics to some regard as well, do also get really tanky. But if you're talking about just like pure ability to just soak up damage, barbarian would be the number one. But it's just nice because, as again, you're just giving yourself more options. It's never bad, especially with remarkable outplay. You're just giving yourself two opportunities to be able to move away without provoking opportunity attacks, and it's great. You get that remarkable athlete at level 3 instead of level 7.
Then they've moved what was previously level 10 in 2014. The 2024, the additional fighting style comes into at level 7,
which is so nice. Again, more customization. You can, just take, I think, as a protector or something which gives you just 1 extra AC. Or, is it your great weapon fighting, which I think you usually take.
You can take great weapon fighting. Defense is what it's called.
Oh, defense, that's it.
Healing.
Protector is something else. I think it's when an ally's hit or something.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, you're either choosing defense or great weapon fighting. Now you get to have both at level 7. It's about it, which is great. We're making the champion a bit more relevant quickly. So now that we've pushed up all these other abilities from level 7 to level 3, 10 to 7, they've put in a new thing at level 10. You can
do it.
Heroic Warrior. Which means that you can, during combat, you can give yourself heroic inspiration whenever you start your turn without it.
And heroic inspiration allows you to re-roll any d20 contest. So you can re-roll an attack roll that misses, you can re-roll an ability check, you can re-roll a saving throw, and you get that once per turn. It's great. It's like giving yourself free advantage on 1 attack a turn.
Which is wild.
And you mightn't even need it. You could just save it for one of the many saving throws the BBEG is just going to fucking throw at you.
So, once again, improving the fighter both earlier on and bringing in the heroic warrior. Fantastic. After this, we still have the 15 feet. Feet? My apologies. Losing my mind. At level 15, we still have the... Sorry, what?
Did you see 15th level and you saw feet instead?
Yes, your new feet. I just class feature. subclass feature. Fuck off. Your crit is improved from, instead of a 1920, it's now a 20. At level 15. Just started all over again.
Good to know it's not me this time. It's just I've transferred the inability to speak to you this week.
I'll just start it all over again. It's fine. Yeah, and then at level 15, you get the same subclass feature of superior critical, where your attack rolls now crit at an 18, 19, and 20. So they've kept that the same.
One of the other interesting things that they did with the 2024 rules, just because I'm seeing it here, is they've included unarmed strikes in a lot of abilities that previously didn't. Because a lot of people like to flavor or like play, the unarmed brawler type character. And beforehand, it specified like when you make a melee weapon attack or a melee attack. But beforehand, unarmed strike never used to be counted in that, because it was not necessarily called a melee attack. It was always called an unarmed strike. So rules as written, abilities that affected melee weapon attacks never affected unarmed strikes. But they've now included unarmed strikes in the likes of these different abilities.
They're definitely keeping it a bit more raw, which is good. Raw is always good.
Yeah. Beforehand, I was using a lot of RAI, rules as interpreted. Because in my interpretation, it seems like it would be a little bit nicer. Or at least just, if a paladin wants to smite with his goddamn fists, let him smite with his fists. It's so much more fun.
Well, not every DM is as cool as you.
I ain't a cool DM. If you remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I torture you every week with what goes on in this campaign.
The little fucker keeps teleporting. Such an arsehole. Anyway,
a lot of what's been going on has been spellcaster related, so I do apologize. That's changing soon. I can very much guarantee it.
Shut up. Shut up. Think of it. So now at level 18, Survivor, it is still the case. However, you still have your heroic rally. At the start of each of your turns, you regain hit points to 5 plus your Constitution modifier. If you are bloodied and have at least one hit point.
Yes, and another point of clarification is it's another word that they've added in to clarify what something means, and I don't know if you realize this, Leo. Bloodied now refers to any creature that is at least half hit points or lower.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It's a point of clarification as well for when a DM is now in combat, that they can say that this particular creature looks bloodied. You're halfway there.
Oh.
So it's kind of another hint without directly saying, oh, he's got 70 out of 140 hit points left. Go.
Is that why you kept saying it last session?
Yeah, as soon as he went down to half HP, I was like, he's bloodied. And I'm pretty sure I'd said the rule like I mentioned what it means like a long time ago, but like I don't think I've used it much, and I do apologize for that. I usually use like phrases like
"oh." Not just using any random phrases. Why the fuck not, Dan? Just do what you want.
To be fair, beforehand, what I used to do was like, oh, he's still looking fairly all right. He's looking pretty rough when he got down to about like 40% or something, and it's like yeah, he's just barely holding it together when he's like under 10%. Like,
but anyway, like this Survivor also has a defy death, which means you have advantage on death saving throws. And if you get an 18, 19, 20, the same crit for hitting an enemy, you gain the benefit of rolling a nat 20 on it.
Your crits for champion now apply to your death saves. You are pretty hard to kill.
But only at level 18. I mean, obviously, it makes the champion look a lot better. I will absolutely say that. The champion has improved massively.
It is a huge upgrade, and I think it was desperately needed. Champion just did not feel fun to play. Granted, critting on a 19 or 20, that's pretty cool, but guess who also does that? A goddamn Hexblade Warlock crits on a 19 or 20 when their target is Hexblade cursed.
And they're much more fun.
And there's so much more fun.
Do you want to crit on a 19? Do that. Champion still potentially, even with the upgrades, I'd still take an Echo Knight ahead of it. And they haven't even touched him.
Well, that's because
I
it's
just think they're
that's because it's technically third-party content, but that's just been officially released as part of the D&D rule set.
it's still just much better. Doesn't have as much flavor still as the Psionic Warrior or any of the other subclass that we'll get on to next episode. It just seems it's fine. It's fine. You're not clowned on as much, I guess, if you choose it. Well done.
Yeah. They did give it a serious upgrade. It's probably still not the most interesting subclass to play, but it's still a very, very easy subclass to pilot. Because I do realize that we spent nearly about like 40 minutes gassing up the the Psi-Warrior, and that's because their abilities have a lot of wording to them. But if you just want simplicity, something that hits hard, and you don't have to worry about like rules or extra abilities or other actions and things that you can use, then you can choose Champion. If you just want something nice and simple, it crits a lot more often. You've advantage on death saves, you've advantage on initiative and strength, extra fighting style, heroic inspiration once a turn. There's not really a whole lot to it, but I think that in and of itself is the beauty of it.
Yeah, actually, I want to take a slight bit of my aggression back. It's actually perfect for players who've never played it before.
Yeah, you want to introduce someone that does some still cool shit, just not as flavorful as some of the other classes. The champion subclass for fighter is just perfectly easy to pilot. There's not a whole lot to it.
It's yeah, but I'll say before it being absolutely shit, now it's fine. It's fine. It's a digestive in your tea. It's fine.
You don't normally always go for the digestive in the tea, but you're never mad you have that digestive.
Exactly. You wish you had a chalky chip to dunk into your tea, but you know what? A digestive will do a job.
You know what? The digestive will do the job, like a potential sponsor, such as McVitie's. Sponsor us with our digestives. Go perfect with Avonmore, your chalky milk.
Sponsor us, please. Love of God, we beg you.
We love you.
We love you. We love chalky milk.
Yeah, so I do believe that is probably going to be us for this episode, because I think I was right when we were going for 2 subclasses in an episode. There was a possibility of getting through all 4, but I feel like we gave each one that we got through today just enough love.
Absolutely. That, dear listeners, brings us to the end of another session where the dice were hard, the jokes are harder, and our standards are at an all-time low. If you enjoyed this chaos, be sure to follow and subscribe. If not, at least we finished, even if you didn't. Goodbye.
Bye.